Aloha, friends and family, and welcome back to the reading of Ascension, the shift to the fifth dimension. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council, and we are pleased to connect with all of you. You are better than you have ever been at determining what is right for you. You have all been on information gathering expeditions, and this information is helping you to discover where you want to go, what you want to do, who you want to do it with, and much more. The information that you collect is not only valuable to you in your lives, but it is also valuable to the collective, the universe, and source energy. The more life you live, the more information you gather, and the more information you gather, the stronger your desires. As your desires increase in strength and intensity, the summoning of energy from the higher realms also increases. You are creating new realities for you to explore and discover, and you do so by being open to everything that exists within this universe. The more you close yourself off to something, the more you close yourself off to everything. And the more closed off you are, the less information you gather, the less desire you feel, the less summoning you do. And when a person begins closing themselves off systematically in that way, they find themselves closer and closer to the death experience. Nothing opens you up to receive like the death experience. If you believe that the information that you are gathering is about what it is you need to deny or resist, then you are simply wrong. The information that you gather is about determining what works for you, what is right for you, and it helps the collective determine what is right for it, as you are all parts of the collective of humanity. So the trick for living a life that is filled with magical and wondrous experiences is to gather that information without resisting and while remaining open to all that the universe has to offer. We promise you there is so much more for you to discover and gather for yourselves, for the collective, for the universe, and for Source. We have the pleasure of watching over you as you discover the gifts that you have and the gifts that you share with the rest of humanity. It is important that you share your gifts because when you do, you grant yourselves more access to those gifts. You allow more energy to flow through you when you give the energy that you access somewhere to go. Your gifts are blossoming now because the energies that you receive are holding such a high frequency. You couldn't possibly hold them back at this point. The experience of your gifts coming to you can be challenging at times because you don't know whether what you are seeing is the result of something going wrong with your physical body or whether it's because you are accessing more of your clairvoyance. Sometimes the downloads and upgrades that you receive cause discomfort and even pain in your physical bodies. These are ascension symptoms, and the best thing you can do when you are needing to slow down and give your body a chance to rest and recuperate is to listen to what is going on in your physical body and give it the rest that it needs. Awakening these gifts means that you are accessing past life versions of yourself as well. And that can mean other experiences, some of which are pleasant and some of which are not so pleasant. So as you access your gift of channeling or your psychic gifts, you may also access the trauma that you have experienced when some authority figure, some member of a ruling class decided that he or she didn't like what you were seeing and what you were saying. You have all been traumatized one way or another as a result of having gifts that others did not. So at times you are going to have to deal with that as well. You are also going to have to deal with being different, from looking different, from sounding different. But the more of you who step up and share your gifts, the more of you there are. And the more of you there are, the less weird it seems when someone comes along and starts speaking a light language, or when someone is seeing things or hearing things that no one else is. It's time to embrace those gifts and embrace the fact that those of you who are awakened are on the leading edge. You are on that track to ascend ahead of the rest of the collective, and it's time to stand tall and proud and share your gifts with the world. We have an understanding of this universe that gives us the ability to coexist within it with beings who are not of service to the greatest and highest good of all. We understand that the universe that we live in with you is about duality and polarity. And therefore, we can accept that there will always be dark forces in the universe. Now, once we came to accept this truth about the universe, we were able to let go. We were able to let go of any need or desire to eliminate or even punish those dark forces. We know that there is so much more power in the light. And we also know that any being who wants to remain in the light must be focused on the light. In other words, the light must let go of any preoccupation with the dark in this universe in order to be fully in the light. And so that has been our journey, and we are here now to suggest that it be your journey as well. Part of your journey is becoming aware of the darkness. And we know that once you awaken, it becomes impossible to ignore that darkness. The next step is acceptance. And finally, you let go of your attachment. You let go of the attachment to need to be right. Only a being who feels the need to be right would want to continue to focus on what is wrong or what is lying in the shadows. We would much rather see you encouraging more people to come out to the light in order to free themselves from the bondage of that preoccupation with the dark. You can do this in your own lives, and you can encourage others to do it by setting your example and by holding space for them. But ultimately, the darkness must always remain as a choice. Once you allow that choice to be, you can still choose the light. And we know that if you are listening to or reading this message, you are choosing the light. We are placing much of our focus on what we know you are capable of. This is how we hold space for humanity. We hold a vision, and that vision is based upon the facts as we see them. We see your potential, but we also see what you have already accomplished, and we base our knowing on the truth that you are divine beings in physical bodies. As you begin to access that truth within yourselves on a more regular basis, you will feel empowered with every step you take and with every moment you experience. There is a complexity to the creation of your reality that each of you is able to access and work through on a moment-to-moment basis. The truth of who you are allows you all access to what treasures the universe has for you. Remember that you create all of it because you want to experience all of it. As all that is, you need to experience all of it in order to grow, in order to become more of all that is. You must first experience all that is. And then when you release all of your resistance and all of your judgment on certain parts of all that is, you get to experience that expansion and that growth. But what you are also doing is experiencing it as yourselves. You see your growth is a microcosmic experience of the macrocosmic growth of Source, or all that is. We know that your growth is inevitable. We know that you can also blind yourselves to the truth of that growth and expansion, but you will never blind us. We will always be here holding the vision of what you are becoming, what you are expanding into, and what you are creating. Our sincere desire is that you get to experience it more consciously so that you can know your hands in the creation process and feel empowered by it. That is also the truth of who you are and the truth that we always see. And that is the end of Volume 1. And let us move to Volume 2. The 9D Arcturian Council. You are high frequency conduits. We are placing a great deal of our attention on how humanity is going to handle the influx of energies that you are receiving at this time. The reason why it is important for us to notice how you are handling the energies is because we need to constantly monitor how much transformation you are ready for. Excuse me. Some of you are ready to become your higher selves completely and descend to the 5th dimension, but most of you are not. Most of humanity needs to experience much more of that 4th dimensional energy before they are ready to transform completely. Sometimes when you add high frequency energy to an equation, it doesn't always give you the results you might expect. So most of humanity is being slowly coaxed into the hot bath of the 5th dimensional energies. So when those of you who are awakened are able to handle more, you sort of filter the energies for the rest of the collective. The energies move through you, they transform you, and then they are made available to the rest of humanity in that filtered form, which is a bit watered down. The trees and the animals do this as well, and you have joined them in their mission to help humanity, to ready all of you for those very high frequency energies that are coming at the time of the shift. When you perform an energy healing on someone, you send them the highest frequency energies they are ready for. When you send someone a transmission of love, you are literally sending that love at the highest frequency they are capable of handling. We are watching, we are monitoring, and we are working with you. So you can relax and know that you are doing enough just by being there and by being open to receive. This shift is not about doing, and it's not about defeating any dark forces. This shift is about all of you being the highest frequency conduits of energy you can possibly be. Lifting the veil. We are very interested to see how you are going to enjoy the feeling of liberation when you release yourselves from the limitations that you have placed upon you. This experience is one that you only get to have once, because you will never move from such a place of limitation to such a place of liberation. It's not possible in any of the other dimensional shifts that you will make on your journey back to Source. The agreement that you made to be third and now fourth dimensional before you incarnated is one that you did not take lightly. It is one that you knew would be the ultimate challenge of existence. And now that you are closing in on letting go of all of that limitation, we can feel the excitement and the enthusiasm within you. We want you to know that the freedom from limitation that we are talking about has nothing at all to do with money, borders, governments, or even the cabal Illuminati, whatever name they are being called at this moment. You will be the ones who lift the veil, and that will occur in the moment you truly recognize that you are infinite and eternal beings of love and light. When you start living that truth in every moment, then nothing about your economy can keep you down. No chemtrail is strong enough to lower your vibration, and there is nothing that anyone can do who is in one of those positions of power that will be able to put the limitations back on you. One of the greatest illusions that you are living under is that people outside of you have any sort of control over you. They do not decide for you whether you are in your hearts or not. That is all on you, and that is the freedom that you seek. Freedom from limitations. We have never mistaken you for beings who would let yourselves be controlled by others. You are not a species that wants to be under the thumb of any other beings, including other humans. The fact that you agreed to incarnate on a planet and in a dimension where this type of oppression takes place means that you have done it for a very good reason. You wanted to know what it would feel like to have so much joy and so much freedom, and so you chose to experience the opposite first. The vast majority of humans are playing a game with themselves, and it is a game of limitation. Now, once that game is over, and there are far fewer limitations placed upon you, the feeling you will have will be of exhilaration. You will step into your power in a very bold way. You will also realize that you took on the oppressors because you have been them in previous lifetimes. It's not punishment, it's not payback, it's not that type of karma at all. It's your willingness to experience something that will ultimately bring you to a place of sincere compassion for each other and for all who have ever been oppressed on Earth and everywhere else in the galaxy. You are making this leap forward in your consciousness at the same time that you are throwing off the shackles of your limitations, the restrictions that you agreed to place upon yourselves. The two experiences are linked. You are not here to defeat those who have been the oppressors, and they go by many names. We don't need to give you one of those names here. You all know who we are talking about. You are here to access your power in spite of the current state of affairs on your world. You are the ones who will bring forth the higher frequency energies and run them through you and make them available to others in spite of the fact that you only enjoy a sliver of the freedom that you have coming to you in this lifetime. We are excited to give you the following transmission because we know how eager you all are to receive the positive reinforcement that comes from us. We have been noticing a significant increase in the number of individuals on planet Earth who are accessing the past life memories that we were referencing in a recent transmission. It is important for all of you to celebrate these little steps forward that you are taking, because if you put your attention on certain aspects of life on Earth right now, you could get discouraged, afraid, or even angry. So this is some good news. The way that most individuals are accessing these past life memories is through dreams, and it doesn't matter whether they recognize those dreams as past life memories. At some point, they will. Now, those of you who are awakened can also receive your past life memories in this way, and you will know what it is you are receiving in the moment that you wake up and remember those dreams. But you can also receive the downloads that you are being given while you are awake if you rest and relax. Close your eyes and open your third eye to see what you can see. Whatever story comes to you is most certainly going to be a past life memory. And we can say that with certainty because when you intend to receive those memories, you almost always do. What is more challenging for you is trusting that what you are getting is real and that it is relevant. All of these memories are helpful because they are connecting your different aspects of themselves, and they are helpful to those who are still asleep in that it will become undeniable evidence to them that they have lived previously and that they will in fact continue to live after they die. Now, in this lifetime of the shift, not everyone will die. But it is important for everyone who is on the planet at this time to awaken to the truth that they are eternal and infinite beings. This will be exactly what it will take for you all to shift. Using your power for ascension of humankind, we have determined that the best approach for humanity in getting to a place where you can all live together harmoniously is to look for the moments of connection that you have with people that you would not have expected to have anything in common with. When you remember those times when you met someone who looked very different from you and yet had very similar beliefs, you open yourselves up to the possibility of a reality where everyone on earth can get along and live on one harmonious planet. We know that asking you to see the divinity in yourself and all others is a very big task. We also know that it is nearly impossible for some people to imagine themselves walking in another's shoes. But you have all had experiences with other humans where you were surprised at how much you had in common with someone who, on the surface, was so unlike you in every way. It is very hard to spot a person who is spiritual unless they are going out of their way to tell you with their attire or with what they are doing. You cannot just look at someone and determine whether or not they share your beliefs. The New Age has been expanding as a community, and more people are waking up every day. If you, as the awakened ones, can practice this, then you send that message to the collective consciousness. You let everyone know in those moments that you are sharing your memories with the collective consciousness, and that it's not only possible to make a connection with someone that you wouldn't expect to make that connection with, but it's also a reality in your experience. You really do want to experience a peaceful world, and while you cannot talk everyone else into laying down their weapons and hugging the person they see as their enemy, you can deliver this message to the human collective consciousness by admitting that you were wrong. Find instances when you made assumptions about other people that turned out to be wrong because you misjudged them. And we are talking about those instances when it was a negative judgment and the person turned out to be someone that you could really relate to. You are going to come to this harmonious society little by little and moment by moment. We know that you would like to see something that would bring about a broad and sweeping change. But just think about how many of you are awake right now and how you can contribute to the collective consciousness of humanity in such a positive way. You can send shockwaves through your collective consciousness and do more for humanity in a moment than you could do in a lifetime of working at something physically. This is the power that you have as individuals and as the awakened collective. And we are just suggesting now that you use that power for the good of all, for the ascension of humankind. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Raise your hand if you're continually blown away by this ascension journey. My hand's up. the magic that we've all heard about, that people once had, or that certain people might have, is all coming back. And it's really not magic. It's really not magic. But in a world that's been lacking that magic, at first it's going to seem quite magical. Just like a world that hasn't had many miracles. If you suddenly find yourself in a world where the miraculous is happening all the time, every time you turn around, you're going to be like, wow, man, this is miraculous. It's really normal. It's really, because it's going to become the norm. It's going to become constant. So the magic and the miraculous is all returning to this earth. And how does that return to the earth, if not through the people on the earth? So as we, let us say, walk and journey our way back to the Garden of Eden, because Eden was a microcosm of heaven. And clearly at one point, humans walked out of heaven or out of Eden. And you know, the biblical account of this prehistoric time is going to get clearer and clearer and clearer for us, because again, we've been seeing and understanding everything through the veils, through the distortion. And when the veils and the distortion are lifted, we're going to have clarity, and we're going to see a timeline, let us say, that extends from source at the beginning of beginninglessness to the first fractal of the 2, to the fractal of the 3, then the 3 to the 7, then the 7 to the 12, and let us say at the 12th of the 12, or at the last of the 12, that's where we happen to find ourselves currently, presently. And prior to awakening right here at the stroke before midnight, we had lived hundreds, thousands, or millions of lifetimes as humans or manimals in third density. So we are on the cusp here, you know, of regaining. Again, I know that I'm kind of being redundant, I guess, but it's so amazing to really, really grok this this reassembling of the higher self. And the higher self, let us say, coming from the higher realm or the second heaven, or possibly the third heaven, and fully being present right here in this vessel, in this body, on this earth. And again, the miracles and the magic will return to us. It already is. I'm very sure there's already people experiencing it and becoming familiar with it. So, as you ground into this happening, this ascension movement, this happening, be expectant of the miraculous. Be expectant of the magic. And that will increase its manifestation. That will allow it to happen. See, nothing's ever going to happen for any human that can't bring themselves to believe first and then know. So belief is like the preliminary step to knowing. But once you know, now you have something that can never be taken. See, if you only believe something, that belief can be taken because you only believed it yesterday, but you don't believe it today. But if you knew something yesterday, you know it today, and you will always know it. So when the magic and the miracles begin to return, that is going to ground us into the knowingness that this is not fiction. This is not a wishful thinking. But this is real. And it's only real to those who make it real. That's the crazy thing about this life and being co-creators of our reality. It's as real as we make it. And we have put so many limitations on ourselves, or we've had them put upon us, and then we believed them. So we really limited our co-creative ability. And so that's why it has not been very real here. It's very unreal here in this world, in third density, in duality, in division, and separation. It's unreal. It's totally unreal. Because how could you possibly separate from the one, from the infinite, from God? In reality, like how could you do that in reality? You couldn't, so it's unreal. So this world and the human population that descended here long ago and got caught here, stuck here, and on the reincarnation wheel because they descended into matter way too fast, and they took things for granted, and they just weren't ready. And let us say it was an accident, so nobody's to blame. It's not about trying to figure out who effed everything up, because we all took part in the F up at some point, or some lifetime, or some lifetimes. So no matter what it is we would judge about other humans, you think you haven't done that before, you think you haven't played that role before, you think you haven't experienced that before, because if you hadn't, you wouldn't know that you don't want nothing to do with it right now, right? So it's not about finding out who's wrong and who's to blame and what to do. It's about letting go of every bit of it and embracing our magical, miraculous new reality, different timeline. And we can't just be naive and expect, well, if my timeline, goes to 5D, if I'm in 5D right now, and I'm fully in 5D right now, but I can't look out into the world and start, looking through a telescope or a microscope and saying, all right, let me find the proof out there that I'm in 5D. You're not going to find it like that. Those other people still have their choice, right? and they're nowhere near 5D, and they don't care about 5D. So why am I worried about them? Why am I looking through my telescope at them? I would rather look through my telescope and try to spot Planet X Nibiru coming back around again to do the final cleansing of the virus, which is just a sickness. And so nobody's, thinks of a sickness as an individual person to grab hold of, right? A sickness is a virus. So the virus needs to be eliminated so that health can reign in the body. And this body is the body of earth, and the body that is a piece of earth that you sit in, that you call your vessel. And it's being cleansed of the virus in whatever form it appears in your vessel, or through the projection of your vessel, your reality, or the greater world. That's being cleaned as well. And so that's going to require faith, right? Then we are letting go again. We're releasing what we were grasping at, whatever kind of grasping it was. Grasping to make things right, grasping to make things better, grasping to discover who is at fault, and da-da-da-da-da-da. We'll let it all go. We're letting it all go. It does not matter. And you might say, well, how do all those people doing this, that, and the other not matter? It doesn't matter, because you are ascending to heaven on earth, and they will not be there when you get here. They will not be there when you get here. You have to have faith to know that. You have to have trust to know that. And don't worry about how does it all happen. Like, how does this transition? Don't worry about that. Know that when you get here, they will not be there. And that should excite us, and infuse us with, again, the love and the compassion and the wonder and the magicalness of this. Because you're an insider. Think of how many people don't know all of this and have no idea how all of this works. And still we ourselves don't fully. But we're insiders. You're an insider. You're being given the keys that unlock all of those locked doors that we've been banging against for many, many, many lifetimes. Truly beautiful, truly amazing. And it's all love. It's all love. And so we will leave you in that love of the infinite Creator until we meet again.